Japan is more popular than ever before. Traveling this diverse country is confusing at the best of times, so I hope this video gives you the confidence to look beyond the bullet trains and rent a car instead. Taking the Shinkansen will get you there much faster, but I guarantee, taking a car will be more scenic and enjoyable. On this video we are going to discover some of the advantages of driving in Japan.
G'day, this is David and Miranda. We're from Byron Bay in Australia, and in April and May 2024 we were in Japan, and we chose to hire a car for 30 days out of our 7 weeks, and we discovered a great deal more of the country areas in Japan. So I really hope this video gives you an insight into just how easy it is to drive a car in Japan and discover more of Japan than all the major touristy areas. So sit back, relax and enjoy the video, and I hope you take on a few of my suggestions in the hope that it makes your journey in Japan a little easier.
In Japan's spring of 2024 we traveled to the far north of the country, and as far south to the heritage-listed Yakushima Island. Renting a car enabled us to see many locations far from the cities. We discovered vast rainforests, rivers, parks, and gardens. We also met many Japanese locals in small towns who had never met a Westerner. Over 30 days we rented 4 small cars and traveled over 4,000 kilometers. Our largest journey was during the 9-day Golden Week holiday period held on the last week of April and first week of May. Over the 9 days we drove 1,300 kilometers around the island of Kyushu. Our second largest journey started in the popular city of Nara. It took us south to Kushimoto and Kumano and some of the mountainous terrain where the Kumano-Koto walk has become so popular. We drove a small 600cc Daihatsu, and I have to tell you, we really got to see some amazing sights and sounds. In the far north of Japan we visited Aomori, and drove to Mount Iwaki and then south to Lake Tawada. The waters of the lake and creeks open up all sorts of discoveries. So, in summary, my suggestions are: 1. Rent a car instead of using public transport. 2. Don't use toll roads, they are expensive and only good if you want to get somewhere fast. And 3. Get away from the tourist hotspots and really discover the other side of Japan, which very few tourists get to see. One very important detail I wanted to point out, and it is to do with Golden Week. Don't be put off by the YouTube videos saying don't come to Japan during this, the busiest holiday period of the year. So, in summary, my suggestions are: 1. Rent a car instead of using public transport. 2. Don't use toll roads, they are expensive and only good if you want to get somewhere fast. And 3. Get away from the tourist hotspots and really discover the other side of Japan, which very few tourists get to see. Things we discovered when renting a car. The population in Japan is over 100 million, but the majority live in cities and use public transport. Very few people own a car, so it makes sense that renting a car will enable you to see more of Japan, away from the busy tourist areas. We found that traveling by public transport was so easy, but so confusing. There are so many trains and destinations, but the frequency of bullet trains means you will always get where you need to go without a worry, and on time. Renting a car, on the other hand, will give you the opportunity to get away from cities and see the real Japan, but of course there are many pros and cons. Rental car costs. We rented 4 cars over 30 days, but no more than 9 days at one time. All our rentals were booked with rentalcars.com, as they advertise several different Japanese companies, but overall, each time we ended up getting the best deal with Oryx, one of the cheaper rental agencies. Why didn't we just book direct with Oryx? Well, their website was difficult to navigate, and my Japanese is terrible. Renting a small car saved so much in costs, fuel economy is amazing, and our first car in Nara got about 25 kilometers per liter. If I wanted a car for 2 weeks, I noticed rental rates increased substantially on their website, so our best value rental for 9 days averaged around $600 Australian. In the prefecture of Kyushu, we drove 1,300 kilometers and filled the car up 3 times. The cost was 3,500 yen or $35 each time. In April 2024, the exchange rate was around 1,000 yen to 10 Australian dollars, so it made calculating our general costs so much simpler. Insurance. Many Platinum Visa cards have travel insurance, so we used ours to our benefit, not only for general travel insurance, but for the extra cover on our car rental too. Our bank manager said it was included on both domestic or international car rental. This saved at least $200 per rental, or about $600 for the 30 days. Gassing up your car. We took about 3,000 Japanese yen in cash, plus a travel card loaded with Japanese currency, and we pretty much always paid with cash at a gas station, but paying with a card is also just as easy. Gas stations in Japan are so often old school, full service. We simply asked the attendant to fill her up, and all I had to do was hand over the cash and receive the change and a receipt. Getting a receipt is so important when returning your car. The rental companies will always ask to see that you filled up the car before returning it. Toll roads, or not. Expressways are the fastest and easiest form of driving in Japan, but tolls can be expensive, at around 25 cents per mile. On one drive, it was very slow going near Nagano, and we wanted to get to Kanazawa to see the castle, so we jumped on the expressway. We drove 120 kilometers in about 90 minutes, at a cost of 3,500 yen, or 35 Australian dollars. We chose to travel on highways and local roads, and often along the coast, which can be very slow. Our speed averaged 40 kilometers per hour, but when you only travel 60 miles per day, a slow trip isn't so bad, and so often it gave us the opportunity to experience a local cafe for lunch. An 80-mile drive often took 6 to 7 hours, because we stopped so often to take pictures, and we really saw so much more of the beauty and diversity that you just don't see from a bullet train. Hazards and accidents. Country roads in Japan are often winding and narrow, and have a side gutter for rain and snow. You really have to be mindful of these, but like all aspects of driving in Japan, it's another hurdle you'll get over pretty quickly. There are a lot of tunnels, and some are 3 or 4 miles long. There are also hundreds of bridges, and many are painted red, which can make a stunning photo over a huge river. In an accident, the rental companies advise that the first point of contact are the local police, but I have to say, in country areas we rarely saw a police station, let alone a police car. They just don't seem to have the presence like they do in Western society. So, in summary, the benefits of renting a car include the following. Drive as little or as many miles per day, depending on the terrain. Choose your own route, because that next left-hand turn could lead to a magical shrine or garden. Stop at a local cafe for a truly unique, yet inexpensive Japanese meal. And, of course, you won't have to carry luggage on and off trains and buses. The main reason we rented a car was it gave us the freedom to drive to places not mentioned on social media. 90% of Japan is made up of forest, rivers, creeks, and waterfalls, so give yourself the time to drive, and stop frequently. We used Google Maps to choose a location, and we opted for no tolls, so it took us on country roads, highways, and coastal roads. It was often very slow going, but we were so often rewarded with locations you will never see on a tourist brochure. In the next video, we explore Japan's lesser-known destinations. We drive for 30 days, and get to see so many stunning locations you just won't ever see on social media.